World of Warcraft, The War Within, as well as the next 2 expansions afterwards have been announced. World of Warcraft Midnight and World of Warcraft The Last Titan. And yeah, I gotta admit, I'm kind of underwhelmed in a lot of respects. I think retail World of Warcraft needed systemic overhauls to the main formula to really shine and be brought back into the spotlight of things, and it's mainly just gentle iterations and steps in the right direction. There's no real one decision that was made that I'm overly negative about, it's just the lack of what was announced, you know? I think the overall direction that they're taking The War Within is a furthering of the correct path they started to walk with Dragonflight. But for a game that has been plagued by bad systems and poor storytelling for expansions at this point, it can be a case of being too little too late in some regards for many people. Now, what do I think The War Within is getting really right? Mainly the idea of it, the theme. Dragonflight, even from the initial trailer, felt very like Disney Pixar-esque in a lot of regards. It didn't have that grit or that edge that World of Warcraft can be known to have. And to me, aesthetics in the game, like the Dracthea, were just fundamentally off-putting and not reminiscent of what I fell into love with World of Warcraft about. Felt like a different game targeted for a different audience, which was fine for me. I stepped aside and I played other stuff. What about The War Within? Well, we're delving into the depths of Azeroth itself. We're dealing with the Nerubians, the spider-like empire deep below the surface of the planet. Really cool, love to see that. We're dealing with the Arathi, who I guess are like this subterranean group of like fanatical light priests and paladins that use fire. They look really cool, they have some really cool stuff. The zone design and direction in The War Within looks immaculate. It looks so cool. There's this one zone, right, where it's underground. It's the Arathi zone. And you have this giant crystal of golden light above you that's acting as your sun. It is such a good skybox, and I love the idea of going from the surface of Azeroth and delving deep into its surface to get to the next zone. You combine that with the flying mechanics they introduced with dragon riding, and that's just a cool piece of gameplay in my opinion. It makes navigating the world and adventuring around the world inherently more interesting in my opinion. Now, they are embarking upon this thing called the World Soul Saga. Essentially, there's a Titan, like, fetus that is growing within the center of Azeroth, and it seems like the next 3 expansions are going to deal with that Titan. With Midnight talking about a void invasion, we have to use the Light of the Sun well, and then the last Titan, which is, I'm assuming we have to actually awaken Azeroth herself. There is potential here for an interesting story, especially for a World of Warcraft that for years, even if they had a plan, it sure as shit didn't feel like it at times. So while I do agree with some people that maybe the fact that we kind of know where the story has to go from here kind of lowers the stakes, really, did WoW ever really have significant stakes? Data mining kind of undermined a lot of that. At least we now know they're at least thinking about the story more than 2 months ahead of time. Now, when it comes to the actual gameplay systems, a lot seems to be carrying over from Dragonflight. That could be good or bad, depending upon your perspective. For me, I didn't play much of Dragonflight, mainly because I was falling out of love with World of Warcraft as a whole, but I do like the talent tree. I like reintroducing talent trees back into World of Warcraft. I was not a fan of the Mist and Pandaria style talents. I was fine with them for Mists and even Warlords, but afterwards they just kind of got boring for me, especially in a leveling context. The new talent trees alongside the new content that being added with The War Within seems to be extremely interesting. Now, what are they doing with classes? Well, they're introducing this thing called hero talents. Now, if you have ever played an ARPG, like Path of Exile or something like that, you may have an idea or an understanding about what these are. Essentially, they're kind of like ascendancies, where you can specialize into a certain aspect or type of the class that you're going for. Instead of just arms, fury, protection, now you have a new, not specialization, but little talent tree that you can go down and invest in. For a warrior, for instance, you have Mountain Thane, you have Colossus, and you have Slayer. And these are locked off depending upon what spec you are. So Protection has access to Mountain Thane and Colossus, Arms has access to Colossus and Slayer, while Fury has access to Mountain Thane and Slayer. These augment your abilities, give you different bonuses, augment the visuals of your class as well. They seem really interesting, while also being simple enough to be easily understandable. And simple and interesting, in my opinion, are two words that are intrinsic to a good World of Warcraft idea. And they essentially take the form of a very mini talent tree that you can spec into from level 70 onwards. Now, if you played Mr. Pandaria, you are probably familiar with a system called scenarios. They're basically bringing those back in the form of delves. So, you and Bronzebeard, I don't know why I couldn't say that name, Brand Bronzebeard, will be embarking upon 1 to 4 player, role-agnostic little scenarios, and whenever in the context of WoW I hear role-agnostic, I just hear it has to be kind of freaking easy. I'm here or there on this system, it could be good, I hope it gets expanded on. I think scenarios were a great little storytelling device and mechanism, but they really lagged in the replayability aspect. I think if they improve upon the delve system significantly, they could be a nice little piece of mid-core, even casual content for the game. Now, why do I say that the War Within is rather underwhelming? We have had the opening ceremony, and we've had the What's Next panel for World of Warcraft, and really, it just kind of feels like an extension of Dragonflight. Expansion, you kind of expect that. However, in my opinion, World of Warcraft needed far more significant overhaul changes to really grab me back and pull me in and make me want to play it again. I think they're heading in the right direction in terms of story and theme, and even class customization, and they're also making certain things more account-bound, like reputation. Introducing a warband system, which, if you ever played the Old Republic, you kind of know this idea of the family. So, you and your alts are essentially all connected and can share certain aspects or certain systems together. They're bringing that into World of Warcraft. Cool, I'm glad about that. But there's many other aspects of this game that just leave me scratching my head going, what's the target audience for World of Warcraft in the year 2023? Because to me, WoW is always about that sense of adventure, of having this entire world of Azeroth and going to explore, level up your character, and just have these organic moments of meeting new people out in the world and wanting to pursue different end goals because of whatever piques your interests. WoW kind of feels like it funnels you mainly into one of 3 categories, either Arena, Mythic Plus, or Mythic Rating, and you normally fall into one of those 3 main camps, if you care about the combat of the game, which I do. What do I want to see out of World of Warcraft in the future? I want to see more of that sense of adventure. The zone design in the War Within seems interesting, seems intuitive to what I'm talking about, especially when paired together with the flight mechanics. And going from one zone seamlessly under the earth, or Azeroth in this context, and into a new zone. Ducking through caves, going to giant open areas, that's really cool, that's what I'm talking about. The open world itself needs significant content to really grasp my interest and to keep my interest in wanting to play the game. I don't think the solution is just throw a bunch of dailies in it and call it GG. I don't think that's the answer. I don't think that's the solution. There's an inherent feeling of adventure present in classic WoW that just simply doesn't exist in retail, in my opinion. And if retail's able to recapture that magic once again, I think it'll be all for the better. Now, there is a significant piece of critique I need to levy at World of Warcraft here, and that is the early access for going for the $90 edition for the War Within. One of the most tight moments in any moment in WoW's life is an expansion's launch, when everyone all together now delves into the new content with each other, exploring and finding out things and just playing the game. A lot has already been figured out because of beta testing and data mining, but the mere act of everyone diving headfirst into the content at the same time is really appealing and makes the world feel populated and the game feel fresh and fun again. When you lock off content 3 days before by just simply paying $90 in total, you inherently subvert and ruin that feeling. Whereas you are greeted with a sense of pride, and not necessarily pride, but excitement, as you and everyone else throw wide the gates and deep dive into the new content. Now, what's going to happen is just a bunch of people feeling left out, as people who forked over a little bit more money are able to play the game a bit earlier. So that feeling of camaraderie and everybody going in all at once will no longer be the case when VIP access is essentially granted to everyone multiple days beforehand. It is subverting one of the most core intrinsic and entertaining and memorable experiences in World of Warcraft's life for the simple idea of trying to milk as much money from the consumer as humanly possible. This is classic Blizzard, this is classic Activision at play here. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised they didn't do this beforehand. But yeah, when it comes to the new WoW expansion, there's just nothing that really piques my interest and makes me say I have to play this. There's just nothing that exists like that. I think hero talents are the closest thing to that, but even then, like, they're cool, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I think WoW needed a complete overhaul, and it's just not getting it. So yeah, in my opinion, World of Warcraft, The War Within. 2 steps forward, 3 to the side, and 1 big step backwards. So I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment down below with what you think about World of Warcraft. Have you ever played the game? Have you not played the game? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions and your perspectives. Stay safe. Have a great day. Go play some video games if you can, and as always. And how are you thinking about The War Within? Are you intrigued? Are you going to play it? Are you not going to play it? Let me know, and let me know why. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions. Stay safe. Have a great day. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload and stream in the future. Stay safe. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Till we meet again.